Tammy, I can see that even today, Hannah has gone over there to play with you. I'm sorry that recently she's been going over to your house so often.
Oh, you don't have to worry about her being here all the time, Sherry. Before I moved into the neighborhood, the only way I could see her was by driving all the way into town, right? And both myself and my husband are always so happy to have her come over to play.
But you only just moved into town around a week ago, right? And this week you've been working on cleaning the place up, right? Are you sure that she's not getting in you guys' way?
Not at all. She's even been helping us clean things up over here. So you really don't have to worry about her being over here at all.
Is that so? Well, if you guys are all okay with it, then I suppose it's fine for her to be there so often. If Hannah happens to say anything interesting or out of the blue, just let me know and then you both can stop worrying about it.
She hasn't said anything out of the ordinary thus far, and she's been a really kind and thoughtful girl around us. She is way different from her dad, who was a real handful back when he was her age. I bet all this has to do with you raising her right. Thank you so much for bringing us this grandchild.
No, don't worry about it. And as for me raising her, it's been a real uphill battle for me. She's only just begun to understand a lot of what I tell her now, and she's already in 4th grade. But even though she understands me, she still doesn't bother to listen to anything I tell her.
Well, she is still pretty young, so at times she'll have moments like that where she wants to act a little on her own. Don't worry about it, though. Really. Just continue being a great mom to her, okay?
Thank you for saying that. But things will only become a lot more difficult for her here, so I'm just a little bit worried about all of that. And when it comes to young girls, they start puberty at a much younger age, right? Even her friends have started talking about what boys they like and all of that stuff, and they're only in 4th grade.
Well, it's becoming that time, right?
And as for some of her classmates, they are beginning to have their hair dyed. There's even this one girl that's beginning to put on makeup already. If Hannah begins to take after girls like them, I'm afraid things will only become tougher for me as her mother. I'm worried about all of that, Tammy.
Even if she happens to pick up on some things some of her classmates are doing, she'll always be your little girl. She's already changed a lot from when she was really young, right? Look, it's just that stage in her life where she'll begin to learn a whole bunch of new things. She's going to have all sorts of people around her, and coming from someone like me, I think that's going to be a wonderful thing for her.
Well, I guess so. I guess if she does happen to get into makeup already, it's better than things that are far worse for her. I'm sure I'm just overthinking all of this a bit too much right now.
I think so. I really think that Hannah is going to be just fine. And us, as her adults, have to believe in her and trust that she'll be all right on her own. I'm sorry about that. We've been talking for a while now, haven't we?
No worries. I was the one that started this whole conversation.
Well, my husband is going to be arriving home really soon, so I have to get started on making dinner for us. Now, Sherry, I'll see you soon. And when it comes to you, you are welcome over to our house anytime as well.
All right, the next time my husband has a day off work, we might stop by and say hi. I'll get out of your hair now.
Sherry, do you have a moment to chat?
Sure, I have a little bit of time to talk.
Hannah is asking me if it's all right to stay over this Saturday night at our place, and that night my son shouldn't be working his night shift, right? We don't really mind her being here at all, and actually wouldn't mind you guys joining as well. What do you think? You wouldn't mind her and even you guys coming over to stay, right?
Tammy, you have been doing a really great job caring for Hannah for me, so I really hate to have to say this to you, but, well, I feel that you and Hannah are becoming a little too close to one another. Ever since you and your husband moved into the neighborhood and a whole lot closer to us, Hannah has been over there and hasn't been focusing on her homework. If you don't mind, can we change a few things around to help her out?
Huh? She's been putting off her homework to come over to our house?
Yes.
Is that right? Sherry, I'm so sorry about that. I'll let Hannah know that if she wants to come over to our house to play, she has to bring her homework with her as well.
No, not something like that. It's not just about her not doing her homework. The problem I have with her going over to your place all the time right now is that she's doing it as a way of running away from us. I get that it might be due to my always getting on her about many different things, but when she runs off to your guys' house, there is nothing I can do about her. And so she started to use that as a way of escaping me and being around two people that would never yell at her.
I'm sorry about that. We won't do anything to get her to come over to our place.
Thanks. So, can you tell her to come back to our place and that she won't be able to meet you guys for a little while? I'm really happy that you want to treat her so well, but we have to start thinking about raising her to understand that she needs to get her work done and be responsible. And as her mother, it makes me worry a lot about her not knowing what she's getting into when she's not at home. I'd love to let her out of the house more and have her be responsible for herself, but there are times where that is just not possible for her and I, so...
Sherry, I really am sorry for having her over all the time. I guess my husband and I weren't being careful enough with her. Thank you for mentioning something so hard to talk about with us.
Thank you. And as long as you understand what I want, we can be finished here. Compared to a lot of my friends' parents and in-laws, you and your husband are two very special and kind people. And I'd someday love to become a parent like you.
Being able to see Hannah all the time after being so far away for so long. I must have gotten a little carried away myself with having her over every day. I'm sorry for doing something so embarrassing. I'll make sure that from now on she remains over at your place and takes a little bit more responsibility for herself.
Please and thank you. I want Hannah to do what she needs to do before going off to play, and I need to make sure I teach her well enough as well about that sort of thing. So until I've raised her myself a bit more and she's a bit more well-disciplined, please think of things as the way they were before you guys moved into town.
Sure, I'll do that.
Also, what I've just talked with you about right now, I'd like for you to keep a secret from my husband. He happens to spoil Hannah a little bit too much, so if he found out that I was taking her away from her grandparents for a little bit, he might try to fight me on it.
All right, I'll keep all of this a secret from him for you.
Thank you.
And if by any chance something like this leads to him getting into a fight with you, I promise I'll lay into him a little bit for you. After all, it's my husband and I who messed up by having her over here a little too often.
No, the reason for all of this is everyone being too nice to Hannah.
But when she's over here, it's not all fun and games, as she helps me with the chores quite a lot. So we shouldn't be using her as often as we have been for things like that. So I was really hoping she was doing all of that without skipping things like her homework and such. I'm sorry. I guess I didn't understand her responsibilities as much as I should have.
No worries. You don't have to be sorry for that. I understand how both you and your husband felt. I'll make sure not to punish Hannah too much for what she's been doing.
Thank you, Sherry. Then, can you tell Hannah to do her best with her homework for me?
Will do. But just make sure that from now on, you have nothing to do with my daughter and how her life is over here, please. You may be her grandmother, but she needs to be around her mother right now, and properly disciplined for her actions. If you do happen to do anything to get in the way of this minor punishment, I might have to rethink letting her go to see you both at all.
Jeremiah, what is going on over there?
What's going on with you, Mom?
I'm talking about Hannah. You and your wife should be more aware of what's going on with your daughter, as you are both her parents, right? I understand that your dad and I can't be her parents all the time anymore, right? And normally I wouldn't say anything to you about your guys' parenting styles, but this time I'm not going to let you get away with what's been going on there.
This time? Can you explain to me what all of this is about? And by the way, do you know what time it is right now? Are you sure you're not just sleepwalking or something right now?
I'm wide awake now. Kicking your daughter out of the house this late at night, Jeremiah? What the hell are you and Sherry thinking? What has happened to the two of you being Hannah's parents? No matter how you try and explain this, it's all really messed up. It's even raining right now outside and the temperature is in the 40s. You really did it this time, sending your little daughter out into the freezing rain in the middle of the night like that.
Hannah's outside? What? I'm at work right now working a night shift, Mom.
You're working overnight tonight? So you're telling me that this was all Sherry's idea, having Hannah kicked out of the house?
What do you even mean when you say that she's been outside this whole time? Tell me everything right now.
She told me that she can't get back into her house, so she wants to come stay here. I just got a phone call from her a little while ago, and so I went over to get her. And when I arrived there, I picked her up as she was drenched head to toe and brought her back to our place and put her in the bathtub.
It's almost 1 a.m, Mom. Why the hell was Hannah outside at this time?
And I thought you'd know more about this than me. Normally, something like this isn't happening over at your place, right?
This is the first time I'm ever hearing about her being put outside this late at night.
A while back, I was told by your wife that she was going to start disciplining Hannah a bit more now. Perhaps Hannah has been getting a little too much out of hand for Sherry, and that's why?
No. Normally, Hannah is really good at listening to what she's been told and following it. And And I don't even remember the last time she made Shari mad over her behavior.
Then why has this happened to Hannah? Give me a second. Hannah is coming out of the bathtub now.
Hannah's doing all right now, right? And also, why the hell was she left outside at this time of night?
Right now your dad is asking her those questions, but he's not able to get an answer out of her. It's like she doesn't want to say anything to us. But she's telling us not to tell her mom about any of this? I knew this had something to do with Sherry.
Mom, I'm going to start heading over there right now.
Can you do something for me? I need you to stay around your daughter from now on, because I think things will be a lot better with you by her side. And one other thing. I don't think you should contact Sherry about any of this just yet, okay? First, we need to hear what story Hannah has to give us, and then we can figure out what to do about Sherry.
Let's do that. I'm sorry, Mom.
It's all right, Jeremiah. You didn't know anything about this either, so no need for you to apologize about it.
No, there is one thing I forgot to mention regarding this.
Huh?
I'm sorry. When I get to your place, I'll tell you all about it. I have some things I want to talk with you about in person regarding it anyway. I'm coming back home now.
Huh? Why right now? You're coming home a lot sooner than you normally do, Jeremiah. You're usually always coming home around 9 or 10 o'clock, right?
Well, what's wrong with me coming home a bit earlier today? I just happened to finish up my work a bit early, and the company needs to cut some hours back for some of the workers. So I'll be coming home now and should be there in a little bit.
Hey, hold on. I have something I'd like you to go out and buy for me on your way home. Can you stop by the supermarket and pick me up some eggs and milk? And along with that, stop by my favorite cafe and pick up this new latte for me, please?
It's only 7 in the morning right now. If I go to one of the larger stores, they are open 24 hours, but that's a bit out of my way. And as for your favorite cafe, they don't even open until 9. You can run out and get those things later.
You can't just head out to one of those other stores and then by the time you're on your way back, have it be 9 and stop by that cafe. I really want to try out that new latte after all.
You expect me going to another store to take 2 hours? Are you trying to get yourself some more time with me out of the house?
Huh?
Shari, right now you're running around like a chicken with his head cut off. I'm sure that Hannah wasn't at the park you usually have her playing at when you went out to get her. And when you just tried calling on that phone we gave her, she didn't answer. That's probably why you don't want me coming home quite yet, huh?
Is Hannah with you right now, Jeremiah?
She is.
Oh, thank goodness. I'm sorry, Jeremiah. When I had woken up this morning, her and I got into a fight and she ran off. She's been doing that a lot recently with me. Can you tell her that Mom is no longer mad at her?
Hannah never ran out of the house to get away from you. Rather, she was kicked out of that house, right?
What do you mean by everything?
She's told me about everything that happened between you two. In the middle of the night, you told her that if she really wants to go over to her grandma's that badly, she can walk there. And then you kicked her out of the house, saying that if she doesn't make it to my mom's house, she can sleep in the park, right? And it wasn't just this time that you kicked her out, but other nights that I've been working as well.
What are you talking about? Why would I ever do that to our precious little girl? You know for a fact that she's just lying to you again. It's because we had a small fight that she's trying to make me seem like the bad one.
I'm on Hannah's side right now, Shari. After all, I went and made sure that what she was telling me was true. I know now that you have been having another man over during the nights I'm at home. He'll come into our house all quietly, and you thought that by having him sneak into our bedroom with you, nobody would ever notice him there, but...
Jeremiah, listen. To tell you the truth, yesterday I went out for a bit as well. And when I came back, a friend and her husband came back home with me for a bit.
She heard your voice, and she told me that she heard that man calling you Shari as you both played in our bed. And actually, we have all of that audio recorded, so I can send it to you right now if you'd like.
I'm so sorry.
We're getting a divorce, and along with that, I'll be getting full custody of Hannah.
Hey, Jeremiah, can you let me explain things to you in detail?
I don't care to talk to you about anything else with you anymore.
But I have something to say. I don't want the two of us getting a divorce over this. I really do care about both Hannah and you, Jeremiah, so please don't leave me.
Sherry, this is Jeremiah's mother.
Tammy?
Yes. I have a few things I'd like to say to you now, so I had him hand his phone off to me.
Tammy, please help. Can you please talk with your son about giving me a chance to explain all of this to him? I don't want either my husband or my daughter to leave me.
Sherry, do you have any idea the amount of terrible things you've done to my family?
I do. I really, really do. And that's why I want to apologize for all of it.
I'm telling you right now that this isn't something you can solve with a simple apology. Last night, I got a phone call from Hannah telling me a lot of things. She was asking for me to come there and get her while she was standing outside in the freezing rain. And when things finally all settled down and I had time to talk with her some more, she told me this wasn't even the first time. She's told me that there have been at least 10 times now where you've kicked her out of the house during the night.
I don't think it's been that many times. I think she just has a bad memory.
Even if this was the only time it's happened, that's more than enough to show me that you don't deserve her in your life. Also, another man called last night, and I had no idea who it was. He told me to hand Hannah back over to him, and that's probably why she asked for me to come and pick her up as well. I was freaking out thinking about what could have happened to her if that man had gotten to her before me. He seemed like he was losing it because he was so angry at me. I couldn't believe myself last night thinking that you of all people would do something like this to your own family.
Tammy, I'm so sorry. I promise that I'll never do anything like that to Hannah again. My heart has already changed, and I'll make sure that the both of them are loved by me more than they have ever been before. So please find it in your heart to help me save my family.
You don't have any more chances at that, Sherry. I want you to regret every day that's gone by that where you've chosen to love that other man instead of my son and granddaughter. I bet you never thought we'd find out about all that, right? The funny thing is, months ago you were talking with me about disciplining your daughter more, but it seems you need to be disciplined. Bringing over a man to have sleep with you when your husband wasn't home, and kicking your daughter out of the house so you could have that alone time with him. I wonder how Hannah turned out to be such a wonderful child when she has a crappy mother like you raising her.
I don't think Hannah ever actually knew about the man I was bringing over.
Hannah knows about him very well, Sherry. She said she didn't want to run away from your house at night because she was afraid of what you and him would do to her. And so she'd just sit out there waiting for you two to finish up. And while she was out there in the middle of the night, she said she could see that man going in and out quite often and would even hear you both in bed sometimes. You might have thought she'd never care about any of that because she's just a child, but you're far from right.
I'm sorry. I really messed up this time. But I've been having a lot of problems myself. Recently, my husband and I haven't been having the best relationship at home. I felt so lonely for the past year that I needed someone there for me. I get that it's wrong to cheat on him to find that bit of warmth in someone else. But it wasn't me that caused all of this mess to happen.
My son seems to have been doubting your loyalty to him for a long time now.
What?
And the reason for him being so cold to you recently is because of you being with another man. I'm sure that to you going out with that other man and having him over to you guys' house was just for fun. But that choice that you made started to make changes to the life you had with Jeremiah and Hannah. And it was noticeable. Jeremiah thought that by having Hannah around the house that you guys would be able to stay strong and you'd stop playing with that other man. But that didn't seem to change anything.
He should have just said something if he was so skeptical of me.
And I'm sure another piece to the problem was creating an environment where he couldn't bring up anything like that with you. Of course, it's not normal for a divorce to happen over one small screw-up. But hey, this isn't the first time things like this have happened around you two, right?
I'm sorry, Tammy. Please forgive me for all of this.
And you can tell that to Jeremiah when the time comes for the divorce. You'll have to talk about things like custody of Hannah as well then. So you do have one chance to try and save your skin, Sherry.
I promise that I will literally never do anything like this ever again. I will never stab either my husband or my daughter in the back ever again. I will become the perfect wife and mother that they both deserve. Tammy, find some way to help me out. I don't want Jeremiah to leave me.
I don't have anything to do with you and my son. But the fact that you got Hannah involved in all of this means that I do have something to say about everything. And that's that you are 100% in the wrong here. So even if my son was to forgive you, I will never, ever let you around my granddaughter ever again. You don't have a right to call yourself a mother to begin with. So my husband and I, along with my son, will be raising Hannah here from now on. You happen to like people being disciplined quite a lot, right? So I don't want to hear a word out of your mouth about this then. From there, my son and Sherry got a divorce, and the custody of Hannah was given to my son. And when it comes to the man that Sherry had been going out with, they both met on a dating app, and so the both of them were only into it for the fun. But to my son, that doesn't change the fact that she'd been sleeping with another man, and sometimes in his own bed. He was also aware that Sherry was married to Jeremiah, so Jeremiah made sure to get a huge settlement from him. He even came to one of the meetings with Sherry, Jeremiah, and Jeremiah's lawyer to say that he was sorry for what he'd done, but knew that that wasn't going to change Jeremiah's mind at all. And of course he was right, as Jeremiah still went along with getting that money from him and making sure he understood that what he'd done was very wrong. After getting the money he asked for from Sherry's secret man, he was also able to get a settlement from Sherry, as well as will continue to receive child support from her until Hannah turns 18. After the divorce, Sherry ended up going back home to her parents' place, but soon after was kicked out of their house. As of right now, it's not really known what Sherry is doing now that even her family doesn't want anything to do with her. But after thinking about what she'd done to her own husband and daughter, there is no need for me to care about what happens with her out in this cold and difficult world. I'm praying that someone like her never makes an appearance in our lives ever again, and never shows her face around Hannah. It's been a few months now since my son divorced Sherry, and right now he's got a new house where he's living with Hannah. And on days where he has to work night shifts, he sends Hannah over to our place to stay and play with us and stay the night. Hannah is really happy that she has 2 houses now that she can have fun at. If it was never for my husband and I moving closer to my son and his family, things would have ended up a lot differently for everyone. Hannah would have never had a place to run and hide, and Sherry would have had her way with everyone, including my son, at that place. But I'm glad a situation like that never happened, and that we got to see our granddaughter smiling and laughing every day around us. I just wish that everyone noticed what Sherry was doing sooner, so that we could have stepped in and saved Hannah before she was tossed out of her house so many times. But to make sure she never has to think about something like that again, we're all going to support her in letting her know how loved she really is. And hopefully that will let her know just how much we care about her. We will do everything in our power to heal those wounds that Sherry created so that she can live a long and happy life amongst her family and friends. So let's this be my final message, saying that Hannah is going to be raised properly by us 3, and will never have to live another night outside in the rain, ever again. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.